Hi, I'm Rose from Cheap Lazy Vegan, and on this episode of Eat Kindly with me, I'm going to show you guys 3 vegan comfort food recipes on a budget. Let's get started. I'm sure we all have our own versions of comfort food, but when I think of comfort food, a few things come to mind. Pasta, soup, and something sweet, doughy, and chocolatey. So we're going to be making 3 delicious vegan dishes that will satisfy those comfort food cravings. First, we're starting with a no-boil lentil pasta bake. Second, we're going to make a creamy mushroom and potato soup. And we are going to end with super soft and chewy double chocolate cookies. Make sure you make all 3 of these for a delicious 3-course meal, and it'll be like a giant hug, don't you think? Anyways, let's start with the first recipe. We're going to start by making our lentil pasta bake. So first, we want to preheat our oven to 370 degrees Fahrenheit. And into a large, deep baking pan, we're going to add in an entire box of dry pasta. So this is around 375 grams of dry pasta. And we're also going to add 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and 2 tablespoons of olive or avocado oil. Then we can give this a nice mix just to make sure that everything is well spread out and well coated, and feel free, of course, to add other spices and seasonings as you wish. Next, let's add a 1/4 cup of tomato paste, and we're going to give this a nice mix as well. And then let's add in our vegetables. I have half an onion that I've diced, we have 2 cups of sliced mushrooms, and I also have 1 diced bell pepper. But my friends, feel free to swap out any of these for your favorite vegetables. Feel free to add in other vegetables if you wish. Let's also add in 3/4 cups of dry red split lentils. And then we're going to add in 1 large can of tomatoes. I'm using this one that has whole tomatoes, but you can also use diced tomatoes as well. And the can is around 28 ounces or almost 800 milliliters, so it's a pretty large can. So if you're using small, regular sized cans, just use 2 cans. And then I'm just breaking up the tomatoes, just making sure that everything is mixed really well. Just make sure that you're mixing everything very thoroughly. And finally, we're going to add in 4 cups of water. We're going to make sure everything is drowny. We're going to cover everything with water. And then we are going to bake this in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. After the 45 minutes, I like to take it out and give things a little bit of a stir just to make sure that everything is cooking evenly and nicely. And at this point, I'm going to top everything with some breadcrumbs. So I'm using about 1 cup of breadcrumbs to top the pasta bake, along with a few tablespoons of vegan parmesan that I just had lying around. These are all optional, of course, so feel free to add some nutritional yeast if you'd like, or some vegan cheese or other toppings of your choice. And after you've added your favorite toppings, you can put this back in the oven and bake for another 15 minutes. And after that, you are pretty much finished. All you have to do is be a little bit more patient and let it cool for about 10-15 minutes before you start serving. And that's it. I know, it's so easy and it's actually very affordable and also pretty healthy. We're using very simple, easy to find, accessible, and healthy ingredients. Pasta is pretty cheap no matter where you go. Lentils are also very cheap. And of course, again, you can mix and match different vegetables based on what you'd like. And that's it. I hope you guys try this out. It's so easy, so comforting. And all you have to do is just put everything in one pan and let the oven do the magic. Alright guys, so the next recipe is going to be a creamy mushroom and potato soup, and the best part is you can make this while your pasta bake is in the oven. I know. We're going to start by heating up 1 tablespoon of oil in a large pot on medium-high heat, and let's add in half a diced onion. I like to cook the onions for about a minute or 2 until they begin to soften, and then let's add in 3 cups of chopped white mushrooms. And let's also add in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and then we're gonna let this cook for a couple of minutes. And then let's add in 1 large potato that I've peeled and chopped into small pieces, and then we're just going to cook that up for another minute or so. And then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of flour, and then we're gonna give this a quick stir. We're going to slowly add in 4 cups of water or vegetable broth while mixing this together. If you're using water, we're going to add in a vegetable stock cube later. And if you're using vegetable broth, you don't need to add that vegetable stock. So we're going to slowly add this in while mixing in the flour with everything. So if you used water in the last step, then you can add 1 block of vegetable stock cube. I just like to break it up into pieces, and that's going to give this a lot of flavor. So we're going to add that in, and we're also going to add in 1 tablespoon of thyme, and let's mix this well. And we're going to bring this mixture to a boil. And when this mixture comes to a boil, guys, just turn it down to about a medium-low heat, and let's boil for another 20 to 30 minutes until the potatoes are nice and soft. And meanwhile, guys, let's take 1 tablespoon of miso paste. I'm going to add it into a small bowl, and into that small bowl, we're also going to add in a few little spoonfuls of that broth. And I'm just taking a whisk and I'm just thinning out that miso paste so that when we drop it into the soup, you're not going to get like a big chunk of miso paste in your mouth. Yeah, so this is just a good way of thinning out the miso paste to make it easier to mix into the soup. So after about 20 to 30 minutes of cooking, and when the potatoes are pretty much done cooking, we're going to add in 1 can of coconut milk, and we're going to mix this well. And we're going to boil this for another 10 minutes or so. And after that, we can add in that miso concoction back into the soup. And this is going to give your soup some more flavor, lots of depth, and just deliciousness. If you don't have miso paste, you can use a little bit of soy sauce maybe, use more salt, use more spices, use more seasonings, whatever you want to do. But the miso paste really does add some nice depth and flavor. And at this point, you can give this a nice taste and see if you want to add anything else. Just make sure that it tastes delicious, and then we can serve it. I like to always finish off with a little bit of black pepper, a little pinch of salt, and of course you can garnish with whatever else you'd like. And there you go. That's how you make a creamy mushroom and potato soup. Super comforting, so delicious. And last but not least, I want to show you guys how to make these double chocolate cookies that are super fudgy. They are soft, they are chewy, they're so chocolatey and delicious. Let's get started. First, we're going to preheat our oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to take a medium-sized mixing bowl and let's mix together the dry ingredients. We're going to do 1/3 cup of white flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of vegan chocolate chips, and then we can mix together the dry ingredients. All right, now we can add in our wet ingredients. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of applesauce and 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Make sure you're using a mild flavor vegetable oil like canola oil or sunflower oil. And we're also gonna add in 1/4 cup of non-dairy milk or 4 tablespoons. And feel free to add a little bit more at a time as needed. Mix everything first and see if it's too dry. You can add in 1 tablespoon at a time, more of the non-dairy milk. You can also add in 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. That's optional. And there you go, just mix it really well. And then we're gonna take a tablespoon. I like to always wet the tablespoon with a little bit of water and just make little round shapes and put it onto a lined baking sheet. And guys, if you have a few extra chocolate chips laying around, feel free to add like a few more chips on top of each little cookie. I like to add about 2 or 3 extra per cookie on top just to give it a nice little look. And plus, you know, when it comes to chocolate, the more the merrier, you know what I'm saying? So we want to bake this at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 13 minutes. And that's it. That's how you get these super soft, really delicious, almost brownie-like sort of cookies. They are so good. They're so chocolatey, and I highly recommend you guys try this out. All right, you guys, so those were the 3 comfort food recipes on a budget. I really hope you guys try these out. They are so delicious and of course, very comforting. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want more easy and budget-friendly vegan recipes, check out my YouTube channel, which is Cheap Lazy Vegan. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!